And welcome to Tavern Talk, a full spoiler Wheel of Time based talk show based on Robert Jordan's epic fantasy series. My name is Ryan, and joining me is my co-host Beth Domon and special guest Dana Lou Who, which I shall only say once. We are...
There is no Dana, there is only Zuul.
Jansen got eaten by a technical goblin. He's battling it in the fourth dimension. He will join us as soon as possible. Brother Dan is also joining us late. Tom DeSimone will join us late. We are just going to be trickling in. But let me bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Jansen Lashley Haynes.
Hello.
Unleashed, my friend. Unleashed. Let's,
oh my God. Can I say one now?
Celebratory music. We're partying with Jansen. SAG actor is over and done with.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
The Wheel of Time show on Amazon.
Yes. Oh man.
One thing, that's amazing.
Oh, that felt good.
I have been sitting on one of those old-timey electric buzzers, and so if I felt the need to say Amazon, it would shoot me in the ass. You know what I'm talking about, those old time. They made them in the 20s. We're so excited. Yeah, so we've been celebrating nonstop since word came out, and the Way of the Leaf channel will be bringing you as many of Jansen's thoughts about the show, as he is a Hollywood actor and he's a treasure. But we are here to talk about the Fourth Age, and this is, mind you, going to be a full spoiler episode, everyone. So put your spoiler warnings to the test. Tell your children to leave the room if they haven't read the books yet.
See, spoiler alert! It's right
full
there.
Spoiler, yep. We are going not only the whole full series, we're going beyond the series. And we decided we're going to try and write the Fourth Age companion. That's right, the companion only stops at the end of the series, but we are going to carry on. We're going to carry on the torch.
Heck yeah.
We're going to establish some facts. Jansen's got the facts.
All the facts.
Nothing but the facts. And then we are going to speculate. So we're going to talk about who's in charge, where they're in charge, and what it's going to be like in the Fourth Age. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing great.
How are you doing? Yeah.
Super happy.
That's great.
Doing okay. You got just like the Sunday, ponytail, no makeup, just hanging out vibes. I'm just hanging out with my friends.
I'm feeling that today, my friend, very strongly. Strongly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anyone here is wearing pants. Let's just all admit it up front.
I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Okay.
The presence of pants.
Watch and find out.
I am definitely not wearing pants.
Beautiful. End of story. Jansen, are you wearing pants?
I am wearing shorts.
When I first moved up to Santa Cruz from the sunny, realms of Southern California, I broke free from the orange curtain and I moved to Santa Cruz, and holy shit, it was cold and I was not prepared for it. So I invented what I called the Schwartz, which was sweats and then shorts over the sweats.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And I invented the Schwartz. I copyright it. Kanye stole my idea, but we're litigating it. I'm going to win.
I'm sure they're very sexy.
They looked great under the muumuus I would wear too.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was eclectic.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, speaking of eclectic, we have let's talk about Fourth Age. Who's ruling where? Do you want to start with the lesser known areas and move to the more important areas, Jansen, or how do you have them organized in your notes?
1 second. 1 second.
All right. Oh, okay. We will keep talking about
right.
my style. So I had hair down on my lower back, and I would dye it blue black. Yeah, blue black. And then I played in a punk band called Meat Pizza Sandwich.
Wait a minute.
You've heard it, yeah.
Wait a minute. You lost me with the back hair being dyed.
No, not my back hair. That's amazing. Yeah. Not my back hair. Yeah.
You had hair down on your back.
Baby got back hair.
Baby got back hair, and it was dyed
No,
okay.
no.
I just like long, straight. Yeah.
So the way you say that makes a difference. So you said you had long hair, and you had it dyed blue black. Okay.
Yes, okay. But it was down to my lower back. It was really long, and I was a big guy. I had a big ass ponytail.
Yeah.
Like a weirdo.
A big guy.
The taller you are, the longer your hair, the longer your back is. So if it's way down your back, then yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jansen, you look great. You sound great.
Okay. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the fourth age, but we have some stipulations that we've talked about that we're going to do for you guys. Hello.
Bonus points for person saying hi.
That is my daughter, Rebecca. I love you. Bye.
Adorable. She's now viral.
And she is gorgeous. That is great.
Thank you. She is she stopped by to do laundry today, so now she's picking up her laundry.
If anybody wants me to get a washer and dryer,
they can't hear you.
You
could hear her.
We did. Yeah.
Love you, mean it. Right.
Bye. Mommy.
So we talked about some stipulations, and this especially goes out to all the people who are listening to us today. We are going to just give you the facts. We're not Robert Jordan or Brandon Sanderson. We're not going to make a new story for anyone. We're just going to give everyone all the facts and then speculate, which we would love to hear from you guys, about what's going to happen in the next stage. And from what Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson has given us, we know a lot already, and that's what we're going to talk about.
All right, I'm here. Awesome. School me. I'm going to say for you in the audience who are, you read the whole series, but maybe you're not really that big on all the details and speculation and everything with the end of the series. That's me. So when I read them in the end of the series in 2012, 2013, I was not in the community. I was just enjoying the ride. I wasn't trying to remember it all and speculate and follow anything. I didn't have a companion. I didn't have any of that other stuff. So I am going to be your stand-in. And I'm here to, learn all about it.
I have been a stand-in many, many, many times, so I respect that to no end.
That's awesome.
So this is awesome. So the thing we're going to start off, because we're going to be breaking this series down into smaller parts, because just saying we're going to talk about the fourth age is an extremely vast thing to undertake. So today we're going to talk about who is in charge of what factions, what cities, what countries, what entities, what groups. Who's in charge? Who are the people who are going to be sitting there where everyone looks to lead them? And there's a lot of people that are going to be in charge, and there's a lot of things that have happened to appoint people in charge, to raise people in charge, and for people who are ascending into that level of being in charge. So who would anyone like to start off? There's a lot of places in Randland right now in the fourth age that have people who are running them. So why don't we start with some of the countries, and we'll start with the biggest one, where we all know that Elaine Tricand is the Queen of Andor.
Right.
And they're going to be a very focal point of the fourth age because of commerce, because of her connection with the White Tower, and her connection with the Pact of the Griffin. Now, if you're not familiar with the Pact of the Griffin was started when Piran and Fail, after all of their trials and tribulations, they go to Andor, where Elaine is not too happy with Piran because she believes that he has appointed himself a lord. Not only that, there are rumors that the flag of Manetheren has been raised, and she sent some, feelers out to the Two Rivers just to say hi. We know you're here. This is Andor. The queen wants to send her respects, and they told them, get out. And they said, long live Manetheren.
Get off my lawn.
Yes.
They get off my lawn, everyone.
And Elaine was not too happy with that. However, Piran, being the TAVERN and Studley guy that he is, and as we have seen many, many times before, has found a way to sway her into coming to a pact that puts Mayene, the Two Rivers, Saldaea, Gildan, Carrion, and Andor into a pact of commerce and goodwill and helping each other out and troops and all those things. So this is a huge going to be a huge part of the Fourth Age. I can't even, there's so many things to talk about here, because now we have hospitals starting in Andor with the kin and Elaine's relationship with them. So all of those cities that are in the Pact of the Griffin, you got to believe, are going to be getting all those kinds of resources, as far as healing, as far as traveling, as far as even the sea folk now have plots of land in some of those areas. So we've got a whole new world starting right now.
And a security.
A lot of security. And can you imagine the technology that is going to be starting to unfold in these places when you have places like the schools in Andor, the schools in Carrion, that are rapidly inventing new things that no one's ever seen before. And we know from a lot of POVs what some of those things are going to be. Like, we know that we're going to have trains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
We know we're going to have trains. We know we're going to have guns.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to change so many things. And with the Pact of the Griffin, there's also another pact that we have that is going to be running the land that we saw come to fruition at the end of the books. And that is the Dragon's Peace.
Yes.
So, and that is another, document that is going to be extremely not only beneficial, but it's going to be running a lot of things and lots of new ways of thinking, lots of new ways of policing, because in that Dragon's Peace, we have a whole new group of people who are going to be running the laws of the land. And that's the Aiel, a group of people who have been out of touch from everybody else for a very long time and are going to be coming together now because their prophecies have also been fulfilled and they're joining the world again. Anybody else have anything to say about that? I know I get to start talking.
No. It was I'm just the Pact of the Griffin includes Saldaea, which is fascinating because that's on the other side of the continent.
I was just thinking that if you look at the map, Saldaea is all the way up in the northwest, and Mayene is all the way down in the southeast, and then Andor and Gildan, and so you have everywhere except the northwest of the part that Rand was over and in charge of at the last battle. That everywhere that the Shan weren't, right? He had the north and the west, and they had the east and the south.
Exactly.
Right? So that basically covers that whole swath with places in between,
Like, I like to think of it as the Mason-Dixon line of the New Age.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. Jansen.
Yeah, it actually also fulfills the Corinthian cycle of the north being, the being with the west and the north being with the east. And I love it because I think it is a sheer. It's going to be that path is going to be almost be like the silk path of the Middle Ages from back in the day, where there's going to be so many different people mingling with each other via gateway, via trade, via the sea folk, and they're going to all be at peace. So it's nothing but growth here for a while. And we've got people going to the White Tower in droves. They've changed the age, and you got to believe how many people from those areas are going to be traveling to the White Tower. We saw in some of men's POVs, so many people are going to be Aes Sedai and warders, and just it's going to be a new renaissance for everyone.
As part of the Dragons piece, was one of the stipulations that all of the countries had to have like places of learning that they established and like hospitals that where people could come to. Like, is that one of the things that was established? I was trying to remember that.
I think that you're right.
So in thinking of that, I never really thought about like, hey, if you have Manetheren, being a seat of its own government, they're going to have to do that too. It's not just you have it in Camelin. You're going to have something out there in the West out so that the people who would normally be sort of very on the periphery would have better access, because Andor is so wide from east to west that the West was forgotten for so long because it was so far from the seat of government. So now you have opportunities for people in the Western part to get connected to the rest of the world. And like you said, get health benefits and schooling and potentially going to the White Tower and
oh my gosh, so many things,
all kinds of stuff coming in. Yeah.
And that district no longer, because of the Pact of the Griffin, is no longer called Manetheren anymore. What is it called? District of the Two Rivers, and Piran will be the steward, and his second will be Tamal Thor, the very first lord made by Piran
during the last battle.
Yes, he will. Yes, during the last battle, he made Tamal Thor a lord, which is every lord's right. And now there are two houses in the Two Rivers right now.
All right, so I would love to just focus our attentions a little bit on the Two Rivers and how we think the power dynamics previously have been balanced between the women's circle and the village council. How is that going to play out with this new paradigm of Lord Perrin or Steward Perrin?
I think that they will still hold, especially in the Two Rivers district, I think they'll still hold a very prominent sense of power. They'll still have the mayor and the men's circle and all those things. But I do think that they will be joining the world and having the lords, like I believe Tamal Thor and Piran's houses will be running more things more than them, because we did see in the few POVs that we know Hopper told Piran that him and Fail would have many cubs, but we also know that later on down the road, Piran's granddaughter will be mayor of the Two Rivers. So I think that the bloodline of Piran, the Ibarra bloodline, will be in charge. I think they'll be the of authority.
So I'm actually going to contend that the women's circle almost immediately becomes disempowered because healing is now not their purview, and that was a major function.
I disagree with you there, because you're not automatically going to have everything to do with healing done with the one power. Just because,
why not?
Because you still aren't going to have that many more channelers. You're going to still want people to learn how to take care of themselves out in the field with first aid and all of that. And the wisdom And the women's circle isn't always, it's not just about healing. It's about
Okay,
so much more.
Two Rivers.
Wait, say that again, Jason?
There is absolutely no way that Nynaeve O'Meara would let that happen. She would never let non-channel healing disappear.
But where is she going to be a thing in the Two Rivers? Or is she going to be busy?
I think she'll be busy, but you have to understand that Nynaeve was one of the people who literally saved.
I'm getting some sort of weird feedback. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It's not mine.
Is it Dan?
I think Dan's making the hotel fire alarm go off.
No, my phone got a text. I didn't realize you were hearing that. I apologize.
Okay.
But I think
Dan.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't have my mic with me, so. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
Hi.
Hello.
Terry on.
I believe that, there's also a few other houses or families in the Two Rivers that will probably be raised to the state of lordship. I can't see that with Egwene Alvear sacrificing herself as Amberlin to save the world and Bran being the mayor of the Two Rivers, I cannot see that the Alvear family would not be raised to lords and ladies in the Two Rivers.
What about the coffins?
They gotta, the coffins.
Understand with the fact that Matt is the Prince of the Ravens, they're already revered in Shawshank. I can't see Tuon not anointing them as the blood.
See, I believe there's going to be the Two Rivers Egwene Memorial Hospital, staffed with at least one head chandler and some little baby chandlers, and possibly male chandlers also working in coordinated.
I mean, actually, the majority of the wisdoms in the Two Rivers, as said from their own mouths, can't listen to the wind. So they're not going to the White Tower. They're going to still be in charge.
Yeah, that's one of the things in the Two Rivers that I was thinking of, is that you don't just have, it's not like it's just Emmons Field, right? So there are other small towns like I imagine Tarrant Ferry will be rebuilt because people will still be traveling, across the Tarrant and need a way to get across, maybe even build a bridge. Who knows what they're going to do? But that'll need to be rebuilt because it was destroyed.
I think it's more like Walmart moves in and like your mom and pop stores like go under. I think once you get some Aes Sedai like healing, like no one's going to be like going to that they're painful. Like Nynaeve treatment is like painful, long, you might die.
Right, I agree with you. I think when we think about the Randland age, we're talking about a people that know pretty much nothing. All these Terangrial, they were just like sampling with it, and if it was too dangerous, they put a label on it that said too dangerous, and they just stored it away. Now we're entering an age where we can create these things, we can identify them, we can incorporate them. If we need to build a bridge, I'm sure there's a Terangrial in the One Power that can do that. I'm sure that Quendar is going to become much more prolific in this fourth age because we can create it again. We're entering a new age of life where I think the One Power is going to become much more prevalent and an everyday part. And let's just say it's electricity with a washing machine instead of having a wash. It's a dishwasher. It's a Roomba. This is now. We essentially have our own One Power doing these gigs.
Flows during the Age of Legends. It's definitely possible for it to come back because they know of it because of the super awesome book that they found.
Oh, the tablet.
I think it's going to take a long time to get there, you guys. I think we're not talking about it. Maybe you'll get there in generations, but for a while, I still think that you're not going to have, it's going to take a while to build up the channelers. You lost a lot of channelers. It's going to take
good point.
time. It's going to take time to build up all the infrastructure for these things you're talking about. So in the meantime, I think you're still going to have all of the structures that you had before, but there's going to be more direction, more connection.
I'm glad you said direction, because I was going to ask, what about the regulatory system? Because different groups all different groups that use the one power have different opinions of how it should be used and why it should be used. And some people can't kill with it. Some people don't care. You know, some people, like the women of the White Tower, actually have the oath rod that they continue to use. The Black Tower does not. And I can't see anyone from the White Tower actually telling Logain, you must do this. You know, I don't see even Katsuan doing it. Logain's going to be a very big source of power, like the Black Tower itself, and not to mention the Sea Folk and the Aiel Wise Ones, who all use the power differently and have different opinions of how it should be used.
Well, let's also look at history. So what happened after World War II is we had FDR that put all these soldiers that came back, didn't have jobs, put them to work doing infrastructure stuff. So we're having a lot of damage in this world. I imagine that a lot of these Black Tower cats are going to be like kind of social or city engineers, and are going to be building these bridges, are going to be rebuilding roads and all this stuff.
How about, and what about the Ogiers? I think they'd be instrumental in rebuilding a lot of the area, a lot of the towns and structures.
So that's a question. Are the Ogier going to hang out? Or now that the time of guidance has occurred, are they going to...
They're like, peace out.
Yeah.
I can't imagine once the Aiel starts growing chora trees, I have to believe that the Ogier are going to start tending them.
Oh.
What do you think, Zuul? Do you think that the Ogier are going to stay?
I want to know what Beth thinks, because she's been very quiet.
Okay. Hi, Beth.
Thank you, Dana Lou.
Hi. I think some of the Ogier will stay. I don't know. I think there's enough cause to think that they are going to depart, like a large portion of them wanted to. But I think there's going to be a contingent, probably led by Loyal. We know Loyal stays at some point because he writes what becomes histories, in the Fourth Age. So we know he stays. I think Dana Lou is 100% correct in the fact that it's going to take a long time, because when you remember when Rand saw the two rivers in the future, where Jansen mentioned Perrin's granddaughter, and that's like 100 years in the future, just about, right? So it's a prosperous society, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. And you also have to remember, how many times in the books do we hear about the stubbornness of people from the two rivers? You know what I mean? Like,
they're like, I want to use my flip phone. I don't want these fancies.
Right. I mean, and you talk about the House of Althor. I mean, that's going to be a dead house, though, isn't it? Because I can't imagine Tam remarrying and having more children. Tam is going to be the only Lord Althor. I can't imagine him starting over after everything he went through.
I can't imagine women of the two rivers allowing him to stay single.
That's funny. Yeah, my theory. I think now that Rand got to the end, he doesn't have to protect him anymore. He's gonna be swinging for the fences.
Deserves to have somebody.
Absolutely, but that doesn't mean that he's going to want to have children again, or be a.
I can think of a number of women going into the Fourth Age that could see Tam Althor as a very, very appealing man to marry.
Yeah.
Number one, Gildon.
Say it again.
Alejandra is a very, very, very crafty and ambitious woman who really, really, I think she would benefit very much from marrying Tam Althor.
Ooh, I like that.
Lots of people
Yeah, but
would.
does Tam want to marry her though? That's the thing. Like, that's the
I don't
thing.
am saying no.
I don't picture Tam ever leaving the Two Rivers, and she's the queen
Going to
of
Gildan, yeah.
Gildan.
That's a
I
good
don't
point.
picture him ever leaving the Two Rivers. That is his home. That is where he's from. Those are his people. I think he's going to be intrinsic in bringing the change, being the voice of reason to the change, as he was throughout all of the books. He was always the voice of reason. I
He's so
don't see
steadfast.
him changing that role. I don't see it. And maybe he does get married and he has a happy latter part of his life, but I don't think he's going to have more children. I mean, I just don't see it happening.
I think you're probably right about that. And I also think on the funny side, the only other woman I could see being with Tam and not marrying but having an affair with him, and this sounds funny, but if you think about it, she is a green Katsuin.
Oh my god. No.
He's the only man in the
Oh my god.
besides Rand
Jansen, how
That
dare you.
impressed, yeah.
who
No.
affected Katsuin with only
Look
words.
at Dan.
No.
Jansen, I think you're onto something.
No.
He's the only
No.
he's the only man in the entire book besides Randolph Thor who affected Katsuin with just words.
Oh, I think.
So you're saying he doesn't like
Right.
bullies unless it's in bed?
I know to be a group to love men. And
No, I don't. I mean, I just don't see it happening. I think that Cadsuane's path is entirely different. We know she becomes the Emerald seat.
We totally know that, but I see
You know.
Katsuin coming out of Tam's room saying, if you say anything about this, you'll regret it.
Cadsuane doing the walk of shame out of Tam's room directly into the Omerlin study. Oh my god.
It's a bizarre theory, but if she was, the only person that she would do it with would be him.
She's out there with a cup of coffee, petting Bella on a cold morning, wrapped in Tam's like woolen blanket.
Oh, I love it. I actually, while I was first reading the books, I actually thought that she was going to bond him as her warder. The very first read, I thought that could possibly happen. He was a Blades master, and the way that Egwene was talking about everyone being, needing a warder, and Gowan was telling her everyone needs a warder, I thought Katsuin might bond him.
All right, we have a poll that just went up live. Would
Okay.
Tam do Cadsuane?
I think
Yes
he
or
would
no?
do Alejandra. I don't think he would do Cadsuane.
By the way, did we
If
ever
we're just
hear
talking about having a little fun here.
Did we ever hear about the exactly how the water cloak worked? Did they make them? Did they just have a bunch of them?
It's made out of fan cloth. They have a Terrangriel that makes fan cloth.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was used as just fashion in the Age of Legends.
Yeah.
Fashion.
So could you embroider like your patio furniture with it and seem like you're just sitting in air?
I would hope Tom Maryland would have some patches.
And why isn't
my
there
God,
more of
y'all,
it?
y'all are pieces of work tonight. Let me tell you.
It'll be a clothing line called Now You See Me.
Well, Tom is
It's like that dress is blue. No, that dress is green.
Moraine did bond him, correct?
Oh yeah. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
she did.
They're married and bonded.
That is a one and done.
One and done.
One and done.
Yeah, so
Now-
if we have these kids that are channeling from birth, right? They're essentially channeling in utero is almost the impression we get, right?
From Abby.
Are we
Right.
skipping to Avienda here? I thought we were.
Oh, I get no. I'm just
About
talking
Two Rivers,
channeling. I was just talking channeling in the fourth age.
Yes.
Okay.
Abby.
So yeah, I guess I was jumping on Avienda, but I mean, if we have kids that are channeling from birth and are naturals at it and can just do it, I just don't see how channeling isn't going to be more accepted. Even like in the Two Rivers, where it was all scary at first. Now I'm sure they'll have a channeler or two everywhere. I think Brian's right with that.
But channelers can't do everything, right?
No.
You've still got to have a lot of, doing everything without channeling the old-fashioned way. You can't just go directly to everything's channeling. And when we talk about like standing flows, that was at like the height of the Age of Legends that allowed people who were not channelers to access the one power to run various things. So it takes a long time to get there. We're still talking about, hey, we're going to get trains running on steam. Okay, so we're a long way from, and that being like a big step. So I think we're a long way from those things.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Uh-oh, did Jansen freeze?
Go ahead, Jay.
Did I
Hello,
freeze?
Okay, you're back.
Yeah, you did. Go ahead and start again.
No, I said I think you're absolutely right.
Some things about the Two Rivers that I've always kind of wondered logistically how this was going to work is you have Fail being in line for Saldea. All right, so logistically you have the Two Rivers, and then you have the connection to Saldea. Is she Queen of Saldea? I mean,
I think she's going to abdicate for her younger brother. Her only surviving brother is going to become the king of Saldea, I believe.
See, I think that Piran and her would be king and queen of Saldea while Tamal Thor stayed the lord of the Two Rivers.
Nope. She wants nothing to do with Saldea. Her heart is in the Two Rivers. She became a person of the Two Rivers when she married Perrin. She fell in love with those people. She has a brother. That's going to be the person who takes over her spot as the
interesting.
That is
as the king.
I was always the impression.
Always been my take of it.
Yeah, I was always under the impression that Robert Jordan meant for all of them to be kings or queens.
Oh, she still will be. She will
Yeah.
be. She's going to be, over the
Married
Two Rivers.
to Perrin. No, you know what? Gosh, I don't see her abdicating this sort of power, especially with the way that that TAVERN is. It's
what do you mean? The way the TAVERN is?
Do we get the impression that this younger brother is a leader?
He's not mentioned very often, but I have a feeling all of Davram Bashir's children are highly competent.
Do we know what his name is?
My impression, when you mentioned him, was that he was kind of a weak, inefficient guy or ineffective guy. Which if that's the case, I do not see Fael abdicating her.
Well, he's her younger brother, so
sure.
I mean,
sure, and they also you got to earn that shit.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Fael having much to do with the day-to-day runnings of Saldea. I just don't. Her heart is in the Two Rivers with Perrin. Perrin is not going to want to leave the Two Rivers to go be king consort of Saldea. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, I think he would, but I don't think they're going to go. I think that they stay where they are, and that that's just my take. That's just my take.
I just wondered logistically how that was going to work, because I really saw them.
Well, gateways change everything.
But that means that you have to have somebody constantly. You constantly have to have a channeler with you in both places. You constantly have to have one in Two Rivers and one in Saldea. So it's like, I mean, I know they also are over. They're also liege lord. He's liege lord of Alejandra, and so Gildan and Mayene.
Yep.
Wait, couldn't you conceivably have just tied off gateways to different areas around the globe? Just like a whole area where you go and you walk up to the whatever, the Saldean gateway, and it's just tied off and waiting for you and everyone, right? That's possible, correct?
At a premium price.
I always wondered if you could make a like a Quindiar sort of doorway, and then make a gateway, put the Quindiar doorway inside it, and then let the gateway shrink. Tie it off there so that like nobody gets cut on the door, because I don't think it would. I don't think it would cut the Quindiar.
I
then
love you're thinking of safety.
I'm thinking of safety, so it would like protect all the edges. I don't think we ever see anybody tie off a gateway, do we? But I don't see why they wouldn't eventually go there.
Yeah, we see them tie. You see Rand tie off a gateway, or I mean, what's his name?
One.
And we all
no, but
know that at least at one point,
it shrinks though. Like it degrades over time.
Yes, it degrades. It degrades. It does degrade because Asmodean ties off the gateway.
He puts something in it.
Oh, he put something in it to block it.
So you can't see what it is.
Yep.
Rand put something in it to stop it from closing. So,
but we also
doesn't Avienda unravel one, and Moradin was like, "What the hell was that? That was you can't."
Yeah,
do
that was when they were fleeing Abu Dar.
So that was tied off as well, though, right?
No, it wasn't. That specifically was not. She was holding it and then.
But instead of
started unpicking.
Oh, instead of releasing it, she unraveled it. I see. Okay.
Yep. Okay. That was cool. That was actually, yeah. I liked her dexterity. And that being said, Avienda's children are going to be extremely dexterous as well, and leaders, and also leaders in the Fourth Age, because we know that the clans look to them as being Rand's children, and they look to them for support and leadership. So, and I think she has 4, I believe. They all look different, but and there's something about them that Min even said was strange. So I'm not sure what that is. But there are 4 of them, and I believe they're all going to be in law enforcement, just like all the.
Yowza.
Like the good kind or the bad kind?
Well,
we're talking
tops.
Well, the Aiel are in charge of disputes and everything in the Dragon's Peace. So,
yeah,
you mean like through that because of the Aiel? Is that what you mean, Jansen?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they're going to be. Well, we know that in some POVs that the Aiel look to them for strength and for leadership. The children I'm talking about, Avienda's.
But I mean, when you say like in law enforcement, you mean like over Randland?
Yeah, Aiel are going to be in law enforcement. Yes, that's what they've signed in the
Dragon's Peace.
Okay. And different clans will probably be in different areas. We do know that. At least from a few people from Avienda's POV, that the camp that the Aiel are in the last battle never really goes away. It becomes pretty much a permanent camp. And like I think that they said that it had been that way for 25 years or something like that. So
where are you talking about? Are you talking about like the
talking about Avienda's vision, Avienda's vision in her second going through the glass columns.
Yeah.
So that must be in Towers of Midnight. It happens before the last book.
It happens before it happens just after she meets Nakomi.
Yeah.
Like when she's on her way back to Ruidian. When
yeah.
But like when you say that camp, like where is this camp you're talking about located? It's somewhere in the west. The Fields of Marilor. Is that what you're talking about? Like that area?
The Field of Marilor.
Okay.
And we also know there's another thing with those. We know that even though that Avienda and Elaine were, they were first sisters. That doesn't necessarily mean that Elaine's children and Avienda's children are going to really be buddy or even like each other. And in fact, we get the sense that there was a little animosity both of them in the future from Avienda's POVs that we've seen.
Well, as Ryan mentioned,
I need to reread that because I don't remember any of that.
traveling does solve a lot of these issues. You have cousins that live across the country, but you can travel to them and get there in 10 minutes, then it's not an issue anymore. So I can see Avienda sending her kids to Camelin or whatever, the Two Rivers district or whatever the heck it's going to be called, sending them over there for like summer camp, and then in the winter, sending kids back and forth through traveling and all that. I do want to go back just a tiny bit to the Two Rivers, if I may. So if we are turning the Two Rivers into a more or less a fiefdom with lords and ladies, I mean, to me, the charm and the protection of the Two Rivers was its weird political system. There was a lot of these. When we look at Camelin, we look at Kyrian, we look at Tyr and Ilian. Most of the lords and ladies are assholes, and they bring out the worst in people to be in this position. We have Coplans, we have Congers, and they're not even lords and ladies, and yet everyone talks bad about these. What if Sembui is a lord? I mean, it's just going to bring out the worst in a lot of these people. And let's be frank, the Two Rivers up until now doesn't have the best quality of people at times. So True. What is the advantage for them to have lords and ladies where the division is even starker and the problems will be even more defined, in my opinion?
That's a good question. I don't understand the quality of people comment that you just said. I think Two Rivers are fine people.
We have shallow people that hit people with sticks. We have people that get angry on the snap of a dime. So you add a title and a land, you add this type of seniority, this like house name, your birthright seniority to some of these people, and it's going to bring out the worst common denominator in a lot of these villagers that we've seen.
I think you're right. It's going to happen. We already have people studying to be footmen in the Two Rivers, so they're definitely going to be grasping and taking on the things that they haven't seen in the world that is being introduced to them, especially because so many other cultures have come over from the West, from the path that Rand made for them,
it's much more diverse at the end of the series. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to push back a bit on you on what you're talking about, like the type of people in the Two Rivers, because I think they're pretty much salt of the earth in general. And just because somebody has a thumping stick or whatever. Robert Jordan definitely grew up with, having a grandma who said, okay, go cut me a switch and I'm going to switch you with it and look, I grew up with the same way. That doesn't mean that my grandma was a bad person and, for making, that's the way she grew up. And that's, what got passed down. That doesn't mean that she didn't love me. That doesn't mean that she wasn't like a salt of the earth kind of person. And that doesn't mean that the society as a whole was bad. We have things that are changing now that when these books were written and when Robert Jordan was growing up, it was a certain way. And that's what he was representing. And I don't think that means that that has something to do with the quality of people. I think that's just, this is the way we raise kids. This is, the way we enforce things. The White Tower gets like paddlings with a slipper. That's something that's there and that Robert Jordan put into the books in various places. And I don't think that it's a commentary on the types of people. I think it has to do with the systems that they had in place.
And let me rescind the term
take it back.
Quality of people then. And
it's they're not baskets of deplorables, Dan. It's not a basket of deplorables.
No, I'm not talking about that. But we have the Coplans and the Congers, guys. And so they were obviously shit on. Everyone did not like them. They talked bad about them. They're like, oh, this is Copland talk, which meant bullshit, which meant we shouldn't even listen to it. And yet what makes people what turns people into a lord? I mean, we had the damage. I mean, we had so many houses that were really some very awful people, that I think that the makings of the Two Rivers that we saw would only exacerbate the issues that they have, in my opinion. So
well, I don't think all the lords and ladies that you find everywhere are bad. When you look at the first of Mayene, you know, she was really good and even-handed and and you look at like Elaine, where she tried to be, you know, good in supporting the people under her and that kind of thing. So I think, yes, you do get those things, and that I understand that it could be a concern, because you don't want people to get like power hungry and like let that go to their heads and stuff. I do think that at least for a couple of 100 years that you're not going to get that in the Two Rivers, because of the types of people the two rivers have been for hundreds of years previously.
Yeah,
I love that point.
I agree.
I hear what you're
with
saying.
Dana Lou.
Yeah, well, I think that when we okay, no, that's fair. That's fair. When I think that the power would tend to. I think it would exactly when you have someone say, "Step out. This is women's circles business." We can easily replace that with "Stepped out. This is noble business. This is lord and lady business. This is a privileged business. Step away." We can easily replace these words and make it sound shitty. And I think that that would happen in the Two Rivers to an extent.
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, using Rand's vision of the future as a guideline, right, or as a basis. Perrin's granddaughter was the mayor.
Yeah.
Perrin's granddaughter wasn't the lady of the Two Rivers.
Yeah.
She was the mayor. So
Well,
who's
I mean,
to say?
Nepo baby to me, a little.
Well, yeah, definitely
little
Nepo for
baby.
sure. But who's to say that they do end up rejecting the titles that would come with the positions of authority and just revert back to their prior way of doing things?
Like they only allow
Why wasn't she considered?
Yeah.
Well, no.
She's not the
only way.
She's not the wisdom. She's the mayor, which is very interesting.
The mayor, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, like, the positions of authority. Of course, they're going to be the people who are respected are going to earn those places. Like Bran Alvear was highly respected. He was the mayor of the Two Rivers. So who's to say that Perrin's lineage doesn't continue to garner respect because of the kind of people that they are? We don't know for sure that there still is a noble house residing in the Two Rivers 100 years after Carmen died. We don't know that because she was the mayor of the Two Rivers. She wasn't the lady of the Two Rivers.
If she doesn't have any children, then yeah, you're right. We don't know.
Oh, that's a great point.
I'm just saying.
No, I love that. Yeah, because maybe Perrin is just literally the only fiefdom that they permit, and then once he dies, they just like they're just more.
Well, no, Perrin said that the Two Rivers will have lords now. He did say that. He said that. He said that right during made the Pact of the Griffith with Elaine. He said the Two Rivers will have lords now.
So how do lords work with an elected mayor?
There's layers. You have layers to your government. You have because we have somebody who is the governor of our state doesn't mean that you then don't have people who are over like county level stuff, and then people who are like mayors of towns. That's a difference there, because he's over the whole Two Rivers area, and then she could be mayor of Emmons Field.
But who's going to take over for? Who do we think would take over for Perrin when he does not want to do it anymore?
One of his kids, and you're only going to have one high seat. You're only going to have one high seat of a house at a time. And all of their kids trickling out from there have to go do other things with their lives.
Yeah, that's true too.
Will like go to Saldea?
One of the kids will be marrying into the house of Trakan. Is very possible about that.
Sure. Going to Gildan, going to Maine, maybe maybe you're exchanging, just like you said, potentially with the kids of Elaine and Avienda and men or whatever, like swapping and going different places, because you have these connections through the Pact of the Griffin. You could have fostering of kids and in various countries. So that's always something if you look throughout history with anybody with power or nobility of any kind, that is one of the ways that people foster connection is you're like, hey, let's send some of our kids to go study in your place, and your kids can come study here, and maybe they'll fall in love, maybe they'll have marriages, maybe they won't, so
I'd love
a time during World War I where most of Europe's leaders were related at worst second cousin.
Thanks to Queen Victoria.
Well,
that's very
hubba hubba.
And it was that same concept that we need to form alliances. We need to connect our lands through blood.
I'd still love to see the look on Fail's face when her kids come up to her and say, I want to go to Maine and hang out with Uncle Galad and Auntie Berlane.
Crazy.
Or when when Fael says, hey, Yonara, and he's like, I'm not Norara anymore. You can call me Zukon.
All right. So speaking of Zukon, and I can't transition out of that. I'm just going to jump in. Follow me on this thread for a second here.
Okay.
Do it.
No, so let's get a little metaphysical. We're talking about ages. We're talking about the fourth age. Now, the last age ended not when Leaf Theron trapped the Dark One. It ended when all the men went mad and started blowing everything up.
Mm-hmm.
The age before, I've read, ended when we discovered channeling. Okay. Now, we're talking about the fourth age, but we're still in the third age. And I'm proposing that this age does not end when Rand puts the Dark One back in the bore. I believe that this age is ending the minute we discovered the tablet. And I believe that technology, and hear me out, technology as we see it evolves like exponentially. It's unlike anything we've ever experienced. Like we're seeing advancements that are advancing the advancements that we already advanced, and then it's happening like a snowball effect.
They have all of the legends up to the bore.
Yeah, so all the books from the Age of Legends are in this tablet, and I believe that is the thing that has changed this age into the next age. I would like
anything that Avienda asks Hessalam, she'll tell her.
What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
Well, I think that the line of demarcation is still going to be the sealing of the bore. That's the line of demarcation. You have advancements that are happening leading up to that. And then I agree that a lot of changes that you're going to see are going to be advancements and untold advancements we can't even conceive of that they can get from this tablet. So I think that that's going to be like a huge catalyst in change. But I still think the line of demarcation is this day, this happened. And this is when we change from the third age to the fourth age.
I mean, considering the famine's pretty much done, Disease is pretty much done. Living longer is on the table. There's so many new things. I mean, and I think you guys were right that a lot of the things are going to take a long time to get to, but some of them are right there.
Mm-hmm.
And they've already started changing. I mean, there's hospitals now. That's a huge difference from right before Tarmangaden. A gigantic difference. You know, people can instantaneously be healed now. That is immense. So I mean, and they're going to. So people are going to be living longer now, and it's going big change.
Ryan, I think you made a good point in that there isn't the armistice day for the changing to the third age. It is a process that lasts about 100 years. But to Zuul's point, with this turning of the age, I think it is Tarmangaiden itself is the boom. And once everything after Tarmangaiden is fourth age in my head.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do.
I always think that the beginning of the third age is kind of being Dragon Mount. For me, it's Dragon Mount. That's like the big shift in my head. I don't know calendar-wise what they do.
I think the breaking.
The breaking, yeah.
Which
That's all
calendar?
part of the breaking,
Which calendar?
But the breaking is a 100-year process.
Exactly. And I think the breaking is what.
Well, this one was.
Where the breaking is what did that age.
I mean, what was it? Merlin. I mean, Tom. He said that some. I'll tell you about ages that end in fire, ages that end in ice. Like,
well, who knows if he was telling the truth on that, though? I was thinking about that. We don't. I mean, he is a Gleeman in presentation. Who knows? Who knows what he knows? He was just.
Right. And there are 7 ages that repeat themselves. So.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what they know?
Yeah, Birgitta knows.
Birgitta knows.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
Birgitta knows.
I was just wondering, so do we all agree that we are at the end of the book, the next day is fourth age? Is that what we're talking about? Like that is an event that's going to be the signifier.
Yeah. I think that I think that there are many. I don't think there's just one thing that shepherds in the new age. I also think that as soon as Mazarim Tain hears the word, my talent is part of that. I think that there are a lot of new, he had a total new mindset when he heard someone say, "Thank you so much. When my son if he has the talent, I will send them to you."
Mazarim Tain, did you mean Logain?
Yeah, Logain. I'm sorry. Logain.
Okay, I was like,
I'm sorry, Logain.
Oh, wait, what?
Sorry. But I think that was a giant moment for the fourth age.
Sure.
Him understanding that he's not looked upon as someone who has a disease anymore, someone who is vilified or who needs to be, bottled and used or killed. I think it's a huge moment for the shepherding of the fourth age. And I think there's a lot of other small moments like that as well. I think Avienda understanding what needs to be done to her people is a huge thing that shepherds in the fourth age. I think that, the Pact of the Griffith and the Dragon's Peace, all of those things are all part of this one huge thing that brings shepherds in the fourth age. Even Catsuan becoming Amerlin. All of these, I think they're all big parts of what brings the fourth age on.
Well, all right. I have a couple questions for you guys. And Jansen, you let me ask the one that you sparked right now with me. Why was it important for the Dragon Reborn to be Aiel if the future that we see, this remnant of a remnant actually doesn't actually survive.
What do you mean? They do survive.
Well, don't they become enslaved, and don't they more or less get wiped out by the Shanshan?
No, because
No, Avienda changes their future and gets them to be a part of the dragon species.
Just because
We
she
hope
changed the
anyway.
name doesn't mean that. But ostensibly, this is an option.
well, you're also forgetting that the Aiel have a tool that helps to guide them through their lives. And so
The columns.
the wise ones, the apprentices, are still going to go through the columns,
Mhm.
and they're
Yeah.
going to go through them now in a different way because Avienda has changed the columns.
Yeah.
So they're still
They
going to be
can see the future.
need from those columns to learn how to survive. That tradition hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask my second question then, Beth. Do you think that there will be a dragon reborn in the fourth age?
I've always had such mixed emotions about this kind of question.
I apologize. I have mixed emotions for their reaction. Oh well.
The thing that's always confused me, right, is like, I know that the battle is never ending and cyclical, but how many Tarman Gaidens are there? Like, I got the feeling that this time was the last time. It was different than all the other times because Moradin went. Rand does not become Moradin in every major conflict of theirs. I don't think so. I think that this was the final time that Rand was going to be reborn as the dragon for that purpose, at least. And that it was going to usher in a new weaving. And I don't know, because this would mean that Rand has done this, has.
Yep.
I've always thought that this is the one that's different. This is the one that's different.
I believe it is because I believe that this one is significant more than all the others, and I believe it's because my whole Tam Althor theory. You have a dad like Tam, you're going to be the best dragon. He's not just a good dragon; he's the best dragon. And when he
the last battle to end all battles.
Yeah,
exactly.
When he pulled I know, but when he pulled the Dark One out of the pattern, that is the moment I believe that was the pinnacle moment that had never happened before. That was the one time I believe a human being demonstrated ultimate free will.
I think it happens differently every time. I think we even got the name Tarman Gaiden from an Aes Sedai who drank it or whatever. I think the next stage has its own battles with good and evil, just like the next one. Now, and I'm so happy I can do this, if we're talking about the show on Amazon.
Hey, Jansen, I haven't heard that phrase from you in a while.
And their theories, then in the next stage, if they do make a fourth age Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime, then there will be another dragon.
Well, see, I don't think that there's a dragon in every age. There's even if you stay like cyclical with repeating 7 ages, that kind of there's roughly a rough pattern for each of the 7 ages. I don't think that you have a dragon in age 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
So I think potentially when you get back to if it's not the final thing, as Beth says, that if we get back to another third age eventually, that's when you or second age or third age, that's when you might have dragons again. But I don't think
so.
But if there is a dragon in this age, it's The Rock.
let me get
or Jason Momoa.
You're such a freaking nerd. That's all I'm gonna say. You're such a nerd.
Here in my head, this is when I was listening to you guys. This is what kind of popped into my head, is that the creator and the actual Dark One.
Zombies.
The Dark One is not the real Dark One. The Dark One, the Dark. You can't go and have meetings with the creator And likewise, you can't go and have meetings with the Dark One. Whoever the Dark One was just like an avatar for the real God, right? So I think that the Creator and the Dark One are just kind of playing chess. But the way that chess ends is the king does not. You don't kill the king. Like, you look at it and they end up saying, "All right, you've won." They gracefully nod to each other, and then they set the board back up and they just kind of play again. So if the Dark One wins, I don't think it destroys the wheel. I don't think it destroys anything. I think it's just that game, and then they restart more or less and play again.
All right, couple of questions. I don't buy that one bit. I don't believe that the Dark One's ever won, so to speak.
Me neither.
I believe that we're talking light.
Well, how would things end in fire? How would
that's human beings that just
fight against the dragon?
Fire and blood and everything.
Nuclear holocaust, like a lot of things could be like.
But that doesn't necessarily destroy the pattern. I mean, that destroys civilization for a time, but it doesn't destroy the pattern and what keeps happening with time, which is what the Dark One is trying to do.
I believe that Rand has transcended himself to like Bodhisattva level. He's like a demigod on Earth, and I believe that no other dragon, quote unquote, or being has done this. And I do believe that at the moment when he was grappling with the Dark One, he could have ended the pattern. He could have ended all time. He could have, and I don't believe that that's ever been possible in any of the turnings up until that point. And that's why that this story is significant. And that's why that choice is not just he made the choice to allow for everyone to continue to live out their predetermined lives. He made the choice.
Can I say something about the show now?
Oh yeah.
So I was so happy. Yeah, I was so happy. I mean, we can talk about things that went wrong with season 1, episode 8, but I was so happy with the choice that they made to have Rand's confrontation with Ishamael, where he was like, "Hey, this is not the choice that she would make for herself, and I will not take that choice away," because this foreshadows his battle at the end of A Memory of Light, when he's like, there needs to be choice. Yep. People need to have the ability to choose to do right or wrong, good or bad. They need that choice. We need both things in the world, and the pattern needs both things in order to keep going. We cannot take this choice away from people. And
so you don't think there's ever, so you guys say you don't think that the Dark One's ever won?
No.
Well, how like an Empire Strikes Back-ish kind of age?
I do think, Jansen, that the Dark One has won, but balance has always prevailed regardless of who wins.
Like,
so what does the Dark One winning mean to you then? Because to me, it means destruction of the pattern.
Well,
see, I think that's the ruse.
Destroyed. I think that this is a fallacy.
Yeah, I don't think the Dark One could.
It's like me saying I'm going to destroy the universe, but you can't. You can't destroy math. You can't destroy, you can't destroy the pattern, to me. And so that this is all a fallacy. I think balance always comes out in the end. Even if the world ends in fire and blood, there is a balance. So the balance has to occur. The yin has to, the yang and whatnot. Yeah.
I do believe that you can destroy the pattern. The reason I believe this is because they almost did a couple of times using balefire.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the pattern can be unraveled, and I think that the pattern is more delicate than we actually think it is.
So why hasn't the Dark One done it then?
Yeah.
If he could just muster up enough fucking balefire, he should be able to do some damage.
He has to get the dragon over to his side to do it for him. He doesn't have the ability to touch the world in that way, just like the creator doesn't put a hand in and move the pattern and do things that way. You has to get that's why they keep trying to get the dragon over to their side, and he had to try to get the dragon to make the decision that Rand almost made, like either have it to take choice away, to be too good. Like that's why I think you have, people say, why didn't he just kill the dragon to begin with and then be done? Because that's not the goal.
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand that point. But don't we see a Forsaken battling in the last battle, just flinging balefire and like
why do you think Egwene had to go? Why do you think Egwene had to?
Yeah, but to that end though, like couldn't all of Forsaken, if they really just concentrated their efforts on blowing balefire, couldn't they like do some real damage to the pattern? We saw it happening with one guy getting all pissed off. All right, Jansen, I'm sorry.
They were ordered to do that. You're right, and I think at least the Forsaken believed that they were ripping the world apart so they could reform it and reforge it in their own image.
I think this is a vain, glorious exercise. I think that if you take a couple lives and replace them in the pattern with balefire, you're looking at a tapestry that is enormous. And these are tiny little burns, tiny little specks in the grand scheme of things. I don't think that anyone can destroy the pattern. I think they can destroy their little patch, their little, embroidery, whatever. But one human destroying it, I do not think that it can happen. And so that's why the wheel will continue to spin. You cannot break the wheel. They're hoping
but Rand was outside of the pattern at the end. He was outside of the pattern and pulled the Dark One outside of the pattern with him. Don't tell me how that happens, but that's what it happened. So that I believe is not well. But also to your argument, no human did it because I don't think Rand was a human at that point. Rand was beyond human. He was growing flowers, just walking through the fields like he was Johnny Apple Rand.
Was he Keanu in The Matrix?
He was everything. No, and he made the greatest choice, and he had to make that choice. And I think that's why like this book is significant. I don't believe this is just another turning that the same shit's going to happen 7 ages from now.
Right.
I don't believe that.
That's where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I disagree. I think that this always happens in Rand or whoever.
Right, well, let's go. Top row is a team Rand save the universe.
Rand becomes an NPC and it becomes a cutscene. It always happens.
Okay, I wonder how to make this a poll because I want to know what people think. Oh, the last poll was a definitive no Tam Alpha.
How many votes? 6? I'm going to guess 7 votes.
No, there's more. It's hard. Okay. It's up there. It's hard to find. I'm not going to scroll and look for it. There's so much chatter. Yeah, well, I'll think of a poll.
No, we're stirring pots,
man. Everybody. I see 9 people online and only 6 likes. So, could we get a couple more likes out there?
Yeah,
I see 18 likes.
Oh, maybe I need to refresh or something.
Yes, I think.
How do we get so many likes?
I think I need to refresh.
Okay. All right. The poll is up. Could Rand have ended the pattern? The poll is started.
I say no.
Yeah, that's clear then.
Someone vote for me.
And I like the fact that we can talk about this and not agree. We've all read the same series, but that we can come to different conclusions on this. And I like that Rob Jordan left it kind of open-ended, like you decide for yourself. He's asking questions, and we are thinking about them.
Right. I mean, to me, we've heard that where he said we fought time and time before, and we'll fight time and time.
And he's a liar. He's also a liar.
He's a liar, but you can't. But
he still does have the same soul, and that's
the heroes aren't liars, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but the fact that he says that I've won X number of times, I don't.
Wait. All right. So, do they even talk about? Do they talk about souls?
Who's there?
Yeah.
Like souls.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
Okay. All
Yes,
right. So that's weird though, because like they say the pattern like it threads human lives into the world to help.
A thread is a soul basically, and so but you can burn it out of the pattern for a distance, a certain amount of time, but the thread still exists. You have just broken it out of the pattern in a certain place, right?
Okay.
It will come back into the pattern later when that soul is reborn.
Oh,
Yes.
is it sort of like how there's this one famous character that died, but then in the companion that wasn't dead, and that character is Bella.
In theory, could
Put my headphones
Ishamael
back
just
in.
been said tell his friend, "Hey, all right, balefire me, just balefire me, and then I'm done."
That's a good point. Why couldn't he get someone to balefire him?
Why don't you just say, "Just fucking balefire me"?
Well, the thing is you still get reborn.
Even if you're balefired?
Yes, absolutely. The thing with Balefire and the Dark One bringing people back, yes. The thing with Balefire and the Dark One bringing people back is that the Dark One has to grab the soul as it dies in order to be able to grab that soul and put it into another body that already exists. So immediately,
Balefired people they were burned out of the pattern.
Yep.
No, but that's just for right now. They get reborn. No, and Robert Jordan answered
I don't think they
question.
do.
Robert Jordan answered this question. So they're not gone forever. They are burned out to the point where they cannot be brought back. The Dark One can't grab their soul immediately and put it into another existing body. The transmigrate it into an existing body.
Yep. Being balefired does not prevent souls from natural rebirth into another body. It does prevent the Dark One from grabbing your soul before you die, because by the time the Dark One knows you're dead, you've been dead for a while. I never see fucking 30 years, man.
Yeah.
30
See,
years.
I learned
2 years at this point that I have been reading these books.
I learned this. One of the things, transmigration of souls is one of the things that that Matt likes to talk about. The innkeeper Matt, and so that's why I
love that so freaking much, man.
Wow, mind blown.
So
what's that, Jensen?
The only way to not be able to be born again is if you die in Teleran Riyadh.
I think that's only I don't think that's people.
Only the wolves.
I think that's only
people
the wolves.
Die, they can
once
be
Teleran Riyadh in the physical form and die, you can't come back. Rand said
that came up. I was just listening to the last book in preparation for this, and I only made it partway through the chapter. You know what I'm talking about, chapter 37. And that is one of the things that came up in the discussion because of Perrin going in and out and his discussions with Wise Ones and all of that. And that was one of the things that came up. And so that did get answered for me. So it is just the wolves because that's where their souls live. Well, Jansen?
Upper says it's the final death.
For
wolves.
For wolves. Only
but
for
not
wolves.
For people. But not
because
for people.
that's where their souls
so
exist
then
all
what
the time.
Nations that dying there that Rand is talking about to Perrin before he does it. It lets him in, opens the gateway for him. He tells Perrin, yes, I know how to get there. Perrin says, Rand, do you know how to go into the world of dreams in the physical form? Rand says, I quote, yes, that place could have ramifications if you die there, Perrin. What are the ramifications?
Do you freeze?
I mean,
no.
Drum roll, please.
No, I think it's just you're in so much more danger there. Like, yeah.
Even Amos said this to Egwene. If you die there, it's the final death.
I'll have to go back and reread it.
That
Yeah,
was my understanding too.
What was your understanding, Ryan?
That you don't come back, like the final death. Yeah, that line rings
They're in the flesh.
true to me. Yeah.
When you're there in the dream and you die in real life. But if you die in the flesh there, which it makes sense, you won't come back.
Well, how does that make sense, bro? What are you talking about?
Well, it is like Brigitte, where she doesn't know where she's at now. She's like, I don't know if I'm coming back because I didn't necessarily die there, but I got ripped out. So she's in this ambiguous part where she's not sure if her soul is going to be reincarnated or not.
No, she doesn't know if she's bound to the horn anymore. That's a different story. All of the souls are reborn. All souls are reborn. So she doesn't know if she's any longer going to have her soul connected as a hero of the horn and be reborn whenever Godel is reborn. She doesn't know if she's going to be like connected. I just listened to this today.
Because she okay, I guess that makes sense. Like to me, with the fact that she had her memory, she was like, "Oh no!" And I thought that she like had her final, like where it's like, "Uh-oh, now that I can remember stuff, this is new and bad, and this is it." Okay.
All right, just a little Google search. Hopper says that he knows that wolves die forever if they die in the dream. When asked if it was the same for humans, he wasn't sure, but he thought it was. That's from Hopper's POV.
Okay.
Says the internet.
But not just for wolves. Remember, Hopper said it to Perrin when Perrin turned into wolf and didn't make him kill the deer, the buck. It happens to, if you die there, you die the final death. Not just with wolves. That's why Hopper wouldn't let Perrin kill the buck.
Oh, okay.
You guys remember
I know what
that?
you're talking about. I know what scene you're talking about.
Oh yeah, so here we go. Here's for the internet again. To enter in the flesh, quote unquote, is to risk being lost from the pattern, similar to a balefire death, because your body is in Teleran and no longer in the waking world.
So that's to enter your flesh, entering the body, but that is not dreaming and dying there.
But that doesn't mean
he's talking only about being in the flesh.
Being there in the flesh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but
that's why you'll say that's evil. That's why they.
But
say
it's comparing it to balefire. We just established the fact that it doesn't mean you won't be reborn.
Well,
it means that it takes your life out of the pattern for a time.
The only way you cannot come back is if you die in the flesh in Teleran. Yeah. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, it says it's being lost from the pattern. What does that mean? So if that's the case, then our suicidal Forsaken could have just somehow got himself killed.
I mean, he maybe the golem fly by. You never know.
Fly by golem sighting.
All right, so here's Nova Garden is coming in strong.
I love you, Nova Garden.
To enter into the world of dreams and the flesh costs you part of what makes you human. What's more, if you die while in that place and you're in the flesh, it can make you die forever. No more rebirth, Paranabauer. Your thread in the pattern could end forever. You yourself destroyed. This is not a thing you should contemplate.
Your thread in the
wise
pattern.
What
happens when you get bail-fired? So gosh.
That's not the same as balefire. That's different.
You get burned. Okay.
I am so sorry, guys. I am going to have to leave very soon.
I actually also have to call it
we've gone longer than we normally have
to hop onto tonight still that people are
wait, do you want to tell everyone what you're doing real quick?
Yeah.
Yes. So there are quite a few of us who play Overwatch 2, and we're calling it Overwatch, WOTCH, and Tom's not going to be able to join us tonight, but it's going to be myself, Josh from Black Tower Podcast, Morshadi, who is also affiliated with Black Tower Podcast, and lots of other behind the scenes stuff, super active in the community, and TAVERN Tavern. We are going to be on my Twitch channel, I think Morshadi's Twitch channel, and maybe Josh's Twitch channel in a little while playing Overwatch 2. And Josh started playing this week, so it's going to be lots of fun. Shenanigans.
Awesome. My son plays Overwatch all the time. If you want a ringer, let me know.
I've played since 2016. I've played for a very
So
long time.
silly good. Yeah.
It's my go-to game.
Nice.
All right, Jansen, you got
Gotta go. I'm really happy to be back. The strike is over.
Yay! Can we have show talk, Jansen? I would love to get your takes on.
We can, and that is definitely in the works already.
Yeah.
We've got
awesome
to talk about, including how I did share a little bit of a tear at a couple of things.
Okay.
amazing.
Later, I'll leave that day.
What was your favorite episode? We'll just ask real fast. 1 through 8.
Oh my God.
6.
All right, we'll find out next week.
Yeah.
To be continued.
Zuul, our dearest and oldest friend, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always.
I love all this nerdy stuff. It's so cool.
Love all
You have
guys.
the open door. We're giving you the secret knock.
All right, I believe next week we have Delusions of Grendel joining us.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
We have
my favorite people.
At least one more week of Fourth Age talk, and then we will jump into some deep dive about the show, get Jansen's thoughts.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This has been Tavern Talk. Please be kind to each other and have a great life. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Awesome.
I love you and I'm proud of you. Have a good weekend.
And everyone, run for your lives. Remember, because this is the way of the Leaf.